Welcome, welcome, beautiful people, to my channel where we deep dive into a little bit of everything. We're all about fun, shady reviews, candid conversations, and honest social commentary. But remember, this is a safe space where we aim to have a good time. Our opinions are all in good fun, and remember, no offense or harm is ever intended. I'm your girl, Tammy. Hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Okay, y'all. So we are back for Ready to Love Season 8, Episode 3, Dallas. Thanks for joining me again. If you're new, welcome, welcome. So we are back, and this episode, Tommy is taking charge of setting up the dates, setting up solo dates and group dates for the guys and the women who haven't really connected so far in the journey. He's trying to throw like a mystery element into it. You know, they always got to mix it up every time for the season. And so he's in the men's lounge kind of telling guys about who he's going to be connecting them with and to look out for connections. And it's time to start mixing it up a bit. So y'all kind of know how these mystery dates go. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Y'all know I don't do blow by blow. So I'm just going to tell you how I feel about the scenes that took place. But the mystery date thing is always interesting to me. I like seeing the group dates because I think it's important to see people in different environments. But I also like seeing the one-on-ones of people who I haven't really thought about connecting. So we're going to see how this goes. Okay, so our first date is Marvin and Tequila. So as we know, Tequila was going crazy about Habibi. Lord knows his stressful self is gone, his silliness is gone. And of course, despite what Sis said at the end, it's gonna if you take Habibi, take me. She clearly stayed. Her reasoning about about being mature and being all woman. I don't know who was doubting that she was all woman. I don't know where this conversation was going, but it's interesting to see her back. So Tequila comes strolling down the street and she is going to be connecting with Marvin. Marvin, y'all know, is the dominant one. This date was actually pretty interesting and seemed a bit fun to me. I was a little confused by Tequila's outfit. It very much gave Missy Elliott, I Can't Stand the Rain tease. It felt like a little bit of the leftover parts of the trash bag Missy didn't use. I don't know what was going on, but either way, Tequila keeps strolling down, and then she was in Dallas with that hot top on. Okay, I'm moving on. But Sis shows up, sparkling and all in her pleather, and she hugs Marvin, who we know is the dominant. He did show up with flowers, which I thought was actually a nice surprise to see. I haven't really felt like I've seen any of the men bring anything to the date, so it was nice to see him with flowers. So Marvin and Tequila had a little bit of an early connection, but he was kind of thrown off by her. And so this is kind of their second try around. I actually really liked their date. They seemed to get along very well. It was a really interesting, cool date. They had a lot of like things in common, and it was a fun date. She even had like a sparkiness to her that he really enjoyed, and it was like a very free flowing, cool first date. It's the type of first date that if you're on with somebody and you really enjoyed it, you're like, I want to go out with this person again. So it was enjoyable to see. It was a very different makeup for what we've seen from Tequila. So I'm glad we got to see her side, a side of her that wasn't so like 10 toes down for Habibi and was, being open to the other men. My thing is I kind of felt the same way that Marvin did towards the end, that to me, I feel like it's a little too Jekyll and Hyde with her, but I definitely enjoy seeing the lighter side of her, the fun side of her. It's clear that she knows how to go out on a date and meet someone and be open. I wish she had kept that same energy when they started off with the mixer. So next we got Chris and Kat. Kat is the new girl on the block. I think her name is Katarina. She's a registered nurse, but she also does some other things. She had I think another business that she sold, or I think she has like a beauty bar. She was so far really, really cool to see. Nice, bubbly personality, came in very positive, came in very cool, sophisticated, but she had a very fun upbeatness about her. Chris was stunned as soon as she walked in the door. Sis had body, she stacked a little bit, so he was really impressed by that. But when they stood up, it made me laugh because as a tall woman, I'm 5'11". As a tall woman, it was shocked to see their matchup. And I kind of saved this image for that because, Chris is shorter than her. And I'm like, I don't know. I have like, a lot of women that are tall. We have our thing about whether we'll date somebody tall or shorter than us. My thing is I probably would date a guy who is way shorter than me. I usually like a man that's at least my height with no heels on or taller. But I know some women don't care. Some women feel like, hey, are you limiting your dating pool? So it's good to know that she was open. I definitely just feel like I would be interested to see where this is going to lead. This wasn't really nothing date, more so introducing us to Kat. She seems cool. She's got a lot going on. But it was an okay day. Nothing really too interesting to talk about. I did love how Chris said he started working out so he could eat whatever he wanted. And that's kind of how I'm feeling right now as I'm trying to like lose weight and get back in shape. I also do see like the benefit of when you're obviously working out that you can sort of eat what you want to eat for the most part. At least 30% of the time, eat what you want to eat, and the other 70% kind of try to keep it, clean and balanced. But this was a cute, fun date. Nothing interesting about it. So next we're on another one-on-one date. So this is also another new person. So we know we saw Kat and being introduced to us through Chris in that date. So she's a new person in the game because they've already eliminated folks. And so Chris is the new man in the game because Habibi left out the scene. So Chris is the new guy that got introduced. For me, Chris is definitely a cutie. I like the deepness of his voice. It was real cool. He was set to meet up with Janelle. I thought their date was real fun. I love the whole pizza making concept and idea. I love dates that are very interactive where you get to see more aspects of a person's personality. I think when you have dinner with someone across from them, sometimes you don't know what you're getting exactly. People kind of are used to dinner dates. So I think anything that puts you in a situation where you have to figure something out or you have to like build something or you have to get through some type of thing, you get a little bit more elements of a person. Whereas opposed to like more of the conversational part, which we do a lot of in the early stages of dating someone. So seeing people in different environments is cool. And I love interactive stuff. It brings out different parts of their personality. Chris is interesting somewhat. I feel a little bit like he's rehearsed, but I also know he's just new. Again, their date was it was cute. I love that they had a link that they said that they might have went to the same high school, maybe not at the same time, or maybe at the same time. And again, just a refreshing date. Your girl Janelle, she definitely knows how to have a good time and make the man feel like, they're also having a good time. So that was interesting to see. So, we'll see where this leads. Ciao. Okay. So here's the thing with these group dates. While I enjoy them and I think that they're cool or good, I just feel like sometimes with the group dates, I think it can take away from people who need to have a one-on-one. Although this group date was with Sierra, Tequila, and Philip, we kind of know back from the first episode that Tequila and Philip kind of had a hiccup because she was asking him questions. He was answering the questions truthfully, but she came across to him, and I think also to us, a bit judgmental in his responses. And I feel like his responses weren't that completely out of there. But I also think that Philip was kind of boring to me. I know you heard me talk about, so far in the last two reviews. Like, I just feel like Philip he's not giving. It's just giving dead energy. So it was nice to see him bring it up a notch a little bit here. He's a little bit more reserved, and I can respect that. But sometimes your personality has to poke out more. And I feel like he also was a bit judgmental. It just sits back a little further. So I would have preferred for Tequila and Philip to kind of be on this date solo. I feel like you have to work harder on a date with three people. And once Sierra came in, she brought a sense of light with her, which is beautiful. And I think he enjoyed that. But I could tell from the gate when Tequila came in that door, if y'all peeped his face, when she walked in, he was not happy it was her. And I think it was because he was touching on, but y'all let me know what y'all think. He was touching on what happened with their last interaction. And so he already had a negative vibe in his mind about how she was going to be or who she was going to be. So it was just, I don't know, made for awkward energy up front. And I think that when Sierra came in, he felt happier, but I also think it can cause a little bit of an issue. Also, what y'all think about the conversation about posting your partner versus not? I actually identify with Philip in this. I pretty much am a private person. I try to I'm protective of my friends and my family and my own self. So I tend to be like, okay, I don't need to have this huge social media presence to feel heard or listened to. But I also understand, people want to be acknowledged. We're in a different era. I kind of agree with both Philip and Tequila. I don't think that you need to post every single thing, but I think like if you are a person that is starting to post or you do use some element or some part of social media to showcase your life, I think on occasion, yes, you need to showcase if you got married or had kids, but we don't need a day-to-day diary of how you're taking care of your baby. So that aspect I totally understand, but occasionally I think you should if you want to share that aspect. Sierra with the multiple children thing, I mean, it's cool. It was a okay, interesting enough, aspect of the conversation. I think at this point Philip was trying to escape to anything else, especially when especially when Sequilla backtracked back to what their drama had been. I think that she really should have brought that up before Sierra got there and maybe addressed it differently and saying that instead of saying that you have a grudge against me, because he was really looking for anything that she said wrong to be the reason why he wasn't messing with her no more. And I feel like maybe bringing it up in the beginning and saying something like, I don't know, just saying something like, hey, I know we didn't start off on the right foot, but I think we can kind of push past that and get through it and just get to know each other a little bit better. So the fact that she said, I think you have a grudge with me, I think it automatically brought him back to, oh, she about to be drama again. And, it was a wrap after that. His face didn't never smile. All right, so we on group date number 2. Yeah, because we had 3 group dates in this episode. This day I really, really enjoyed. This was the flag football arena date. I thought this was a really cool date. Let me say something. Dallas people are in shape on this season. They are making me feel like I'm just not hitting the treadmill enough. I'm not getting in the gym enough. Everybody is just in such great shape. But this was really a fun and cool looking date. I love stuff like this. Like I said, it's interactive. It gives you other parts of people's personalities. And so it was really cool to see. I am almost certain, this is a random side note, Philip is wearing a Fashion Nova men's top because I have that same set for women and from Fashion Nova. Drop down in the comments if you got that set. It come in pink, blue, green, gray, brown, everything. It's an awesome set to wear, but I'm almost certain he got that from Fashion Nova men. Anyway, I think that this date was interesting. I liked when they were able to do the one-on-ones, even though this was a group date. I loved Red's energy in the beginning of the date. I think he does have an energy that is good and very palpable for the group. I worry that he doesn't know how to bring that out when he's on one-on-ones. Because when he's with the group, he does give comic relief. He does give fun. And I know that doesn't have to be his whole personality, but I noticed that he gets a bit more animated around the group, and maybe that's the natural host in him, the natural DJ, the natural comedian. But I think that liveliness is what people enjoy. This for me, was introducing Chris to the ladies. I saw Aries was breaking her neck a little bit looking, and Chris is definitely a nice visual addition to the group. In this moment, though, it also reminded me of why, like, I think you just really need to heal before coming on these shows. Unique to me is probably going to be on the chopping block soon. I just feel like her energy around what she's been through and constantly bringing that up in a very early setting of getting to know people is just something that is going to, just cause people to really take pause with her, because I just think that they think she hasn't healed. And I feel like when she talked to Herbert, he immediately got that. And that was something that he was like, yeah. And, the guy that they all saying is calm and chill, when he's saying that about you, you need to rethink the situation, because it's like, what's going on? I did like Lee and Herbert sit down. One of the things that I thought was beautiful is that the pluses about these dates, and I think the reason Tommy put them together to begin with, is because you do get another aspect of somebody that you didn't necessarily see for yourself or a chance. And I love that out of this he saw like, oh, she's a cool girl and she's really a nice person, and I like that vibe. And I don't think if they had just gone by their own devices, they may have never connected. I also like that Lee asked him something that I think none of the other women brought up about him when they were describing him. Everybody has described Herbert the exact same way. He seems lovable. He's like a teddy bear. He's very open. He's something calming and cooling about him. He's somebody you could really talk to. But Lee was talking to him about how people that have that kind of empathetic, sympathetic energy, sometimes they get drained by other people. They're not taken care of enough. They're not always asked how they're doing, the check on your strong friend energy. And I love that she asked him, what does it take from you to be that type of person for people? And that to me is a person that also understands what it's like to be that type of person for people. And it meant that she was thinking about him, not in just the aspect of how helpful he could be to be somebody in her life that would be comforting, but how much it takes to be a comforting person. So I really, really like that aspect about it. And then of course we all were deadpan when Red told Aries he thought she was fine. She stayed quiet on how cute or not cute he was. I don't have a problem with Red. He actually got some arms on here. But I just think that was girl, that was embarrassing. Okay, so now we on our third and final group date. And this one was a little interesting. I know we talked about, Janelle and the mean girl thing last episode and intimidation and dating. I think, I'm not a real big fan of the whole mean girl energy and applying that to any woman, or, overusing the term male identifier anytime somebody is not overly emotional or doesn't connect with every girl in the room. I think there are levels to that kind of thing. But I do feel like when it comes to Kira, we got to see when Kat walked in, a little aspect of her, kind of being a little rude to Kat. I think every woman has mean girl energy in them. I don't think I've never met a woman who doesn't. I don't know that some women eventually outgrow it. Some women they just hide it better, but it eventually comes out. So I don't like to label any woman completely a mean girl unless you move like that in all aspects of your life. But the majority of women I know have a not nice side to them. You just don't always see it, or it doesn't appear for you. You may have not experienced them that way, but they have it. It's there. And I think Kira's came out, but I think also the natural intimidation sometimes that occurs when a new person is just introduced to the room and y'all feel like, okay, we've had to qualify and move past all these things. I've had multiple conversations with these people. That's one of the aspects about Ready to Love that I think when folks are watching the show, is this energy of like, oh, I would never be intimidated by another person walking in the room. But I just don't think that that's true. I just think we don't see people in their real life dating process. This is a very unique show in the fact that you're watching people that you like date other people in front of you. Most of us don't experience that. We're going out on dates with people individually. I don't know who you're talking to when you're not with me. You don't know who I'm seeing when I'm not with you. I don't ask about those dates, or we never converse about that. I may not know you're seeing other people. Whereas this show, I actively know you're seeing other people. I actively see you flirting with other women. I actively see you engaging with people in conversation. So if I like you, it is going to be a little bit of a ego thing. But I like how Jessica was really welcoming to her. I think she still gave her a little bit of a side eye, but she was honest in her confessional about like, hey, it's just a little, it's a new person coming to the group. I also think because Kat had that bubbly thing going on, and that seems to be Kira's brand, she was not feeling the fact that she was like, hi, guys. And Kira was like, who is she? It reminded me of, look at me aging myself. It reminded me of the episode of Living Single. I don't know if I remember this episode when Regine and had moved out the house. And she was like, no longer going to be roommates with them. And she moved into her own place. And they went to her housewarming party. And everybody at Regine's housewarming party was a doppelganger for the people that lived in the brownstone. So there was like a version of Khadijah, a version of Sinclair, a version of Max. And they were all living in Regine's new building. And there was a girl that was at the housewarming party that was like similar to Khadijah. Instead of owning like a magazine, she owned like a copy printing place, I think. And then, oh no, she owned a pet grooming place, and she had a cousin that worked for her. And the cousin came over to Regine when she was having a hard moment and tried to woo her. And we know that that's Sinclair's thing. And Sinclair was like, "Hey, I'm the only person that hands those out." So it just goes to show you, like, sometimes if your doppelganger show up in personality, maybe not the exact person, it could make anybody feel a little weird. And I think that's what we were getting from Kira. But it also reminded us that anybody could have the mean girl or the mean streak a little bit, or a little bit of a shady streak when they're confronted with something that they're not necessarily feeling. Okay, so we are back at the men's lounge. We're at the end of this thing. Everybody has gone on solo dates. They've gone on group dates. People have mingled and exchanged numbers, and they've been conversing. And what we know so far is the men are definitely feeling Kat. They love her energy. She's a nice new introduction to the situation. Tommy introduces Chris to the lounge. There's a little bit of a shakiness for some of the men that had not met Chris, and a lot of the same energy that they were giving on meeting him upon, interest to the group. There's a little bit of comments when he walks in as well, because like I said, a lot of people naturally, when a new person is introduced to a situation and y'all are all familiar with each other and y'all have gotten over the hump of knowing each other, new people coming in sometimes can be a little bit extra for all of us. But what we do know is that all of the men, including Chris, are definitely feeling Kat, and they're definitely feeling Janelle. Janelle comes up quite a bit, and there's a little bit of a tussle and hustle between some of the men as far as the type of connection they have with her, specifically conversation and being really good energy. And so we know that right now, Kat and Janelle are at the top with a lot of the men. But one person we know for sure that the men are just not feeling is Tequila. So Habibi's ride or die. is now up for possibility of elimination, as well as I've been through it all. I done seen through it all. Don't play with me, Unique. So with Tequila, I think a lot of the men just feel like um, they're getting a confrontational side to her, and just like a Jekyll and Hyde energy. Like sometimes she's good, sometimes she's not. She's not. I know when we first got introduced to her, she felt the need to say like, men, walk over the nice girl or whatever. So she's been through some things. But we also find out in this moment is that Tequila has expressed herself more than once about her displeasure with some of the men getting to know other people. And at this moment, Marie pops out and says, "Hey, I know exactly what's going on." And he expresses that essentially to Tequila what found out he was talking to other women, which is the whole point of the show, and felt the need to then point out that he did not like that he was talking to other women. And if that's where he wanted to go with it, then they could end their situation. And it just gave off crazy. It gave off, why are you here? Have you ever watched any of the seasons before now? It's literally a dating show. It's literally a reality show where you're dating multiple people to see who you might like. So his job is to get to connect with those women. It was just weird because what was sad to see happen is that Chris, Marvin, and Marie all mentioned that they had Tequila either in their top or they definitely connected with her and wanted to know more. But something came out and Sis showed the other side of herself, and it just was like a complete turn off because it was either too um, just controlling or just too overly like clingy or just too night and day in terms of the bubbly versus like mean energy. And it just was so unnecessary. And I feel like one of the things that I hate to do is when I see women self-sabotage themselves, it's clear that Tequila needs to work on her self-esteem more. She needs to work on like seeing the person that she wants to be and letting that person radiate more and come out more. She's got to heal from some hurt for sure, but she's got to take more confidence in who she is and let that be the deciding factor that she's coming in happy, she's staying happy until somebody gives you a reason not to do that. And I also kind of want to say that about Unique. I wasn't shocked that she was also at the bottom just because I feel like Unique keeps bringing her story to the same place that honestly, I feel like new Chris, that's what we're going to call him because there's two Chris's and I don't feel like saying new Chris versus Nigerian Chris, girl, I don't know. So I feel like new Chris is also doing that with his situation where he keeps bringing up that he has a past. We get it, sir. So I feel like Unique keeps bringing up her past, and a lot of the men who have first met her say that she always says that she's not somebody to be played with. It's like, what is this warning for? It very much feels like something you hear when you're very young or some kid in high school is like, let them know I don't play like that. And it's like, okay, calm down, girl. This is just a first or second date or meet up. Telling me that you don't play and warning me about who you are and what you're not going to take early on suggests that you had a lot of pain in your life previously. And it's fine to learn from that wisdom and to keep those notes in your head for yourself when it's time for you to exit stage left. But making it seem like you need to be warning other people about what you're not going to deal with, it gives insecurity. It gives I'm not fully healed. So Unique and Tequila up for the chopping block, and it comes time to let them down easy or to say you're still ready to love, the VO. They sent out Marie to talk to Unique, and they sent out Quentin to talk to Tequila. And I have to say, when it comes to the elimination situation, it is interesting to me because people from the previous seasons have talked about how you kind of know sometimes if you're going to be the person sent home, especially if they try to link you up with somebody who you've never gone on any dates with or you've made clear to production, because they ask them every week, who are you connecting with, including when Tommy asked them. And so they kind of know who's just not a match for you. And then when that person comes out to talk to you, 9 times out of 10, it's the person that's coming to eliminate you. And so I was not shocked that she sort of walked in knowing that when she was meeting up with Quentin, that it was probably not going to be a good thing for her. I feel like she should have come in with a better attitude, and she kept giving him did not help their situation. I think Quentin tried his best to be pleasant and to let her down, but sis knew it was coming. She came in with a tude, she stayed with a tude, and she left with a tude. Knowing that she was being eliminated. I think people also need to realize, like, if you're getting eliminated, it's a group vote. So you don't know who voted and who didn't vote for you to stay. I'm sure that Quentin didn't vote for her to stay, but I think taking an attitude with the person that was one of many that voted against you is always a weird energy. And look, for your personal perspective, leave a show like a bad bitch. Show up like a bad bitch. Don't show up upset, angry, and pissed, and then you can't really do anything. So I just feel like she should have left on some fly energy and be like, it was been a pleasure. I've learned a lot. I certainly know more about myself. I need to take away from this. I didn't see that she took any accountability when she left, which means that she should have been on that train smoking with her BB on the last episode. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about the eliminations. Do you think that Unique should have gone home? How did you feel about the group dates? How did you feel about Kara's possible mean girl vibes or tendencies? And how did you feel about the new people that got added to the show? So drop down in the comments and let me know how you're feeling about the situation. Thank you for joining me again, and I will see you on the next one.